Hello everybody, and welcome to the recap of my Midnight Dawn of Darkness campaign here on this YouTube channel. This recap is going to be an all-inclusive recap of everything that has happened in sessions 8 through 15, from where our prior recap ended, which will be linked below, all the way up to the current point of the campaign, including the delve into the Bramblewell, who Marissa is, and her possible involvement in the Blight, and the group's preparations for future endeavors into the depths of the Blighted Heart. So sit back, strap in, and as always grab your popcorn as I retell the story so far. Make sure you subscribe and join the Discord for more. Firstly, I know some of you may not know what DoD is exactly, because you either only recently discovered the series, or skipped over our last recap video, or just might need a refresher. DoD is a D100 roll-highest tabletop strategy RPG, which aims to take inspiration from Fire Emblem and other tabletops to make a highly strategic focused combat system, as well as an intuitive role-playing system, which lets players explore the life of their character and shape their personality through their adventures. The campaign of which I am recapping is one of these stories, and I intend to go in depth over the important characters, secrets found by the players, hints at what's to come, and, most importantly, the story, of which had some major developments during this segment of the story. Session 8 through 9. Session 8 continues from where the prior sessions ended off, with the group of our four adventurers: Iliad, played by Deadmoth, Malrak, played by Undefined Toaster, Lillian, played by Tem, and finally Ercole, played by Patches, alongside Bad Apple, and their new friend known to us all as Amnesia Man, the Boy, and a multitude of other titles, climbing down into the Bramblewell. Session 8 mainly follows the group as they make their trip down the old walkways, noticing a tall statue of one of the goat women from the village above, pointing across the chasm to a treasure chest. This makes the players remember the plinths in the plains above, and they realize there may be a puzzle with locating treasure based on statue locations through the Bramblewell. For now, however, this treasure is unavailable, due to the fact it points to a chest with no known route. A little further down, they find this page. After some decoding, they figure out it's a map of the Bramblewell. And to some of you who remember the last recap, I guess it's time I explain some important info. All of the players in this game are some of my real-life friends. And after I called every single one of them out in the last episode saying, hey, why haven't you guys tried to solve the book yet? We had a 6-hour in-between session, all titled Session 7.5, in which all of the players collectively deciphered the entirety of the book at the time and made a full explanation of the language in Thurundi, which seems to be the name of the people living in the town. On screen now is a full write-out of every single page as deciphered by the group and the language's lettering system prior to finding the map page. Oh yeah, and of course, now that you know this, here's the deciphered page itself, as deciphered by the group during Session 8. Yes, they sat and deciphered it mid-session. No, I cannot stop this group from looking for secrets. Speaking of secrets, guess what else they found this session? A chest hanging on a rope under one of the walkways. However, this is, again, another noted secret, as no one in the group has the range to cut the rope down. Finally, once the group reaches the bottom, Lillian and Amnesia Man have a new memory, in which our friendly boy works some magic and gardens the vines growing all over the Bramblewell. After seeing this, the group collectively agrees that something went wrong here and that the goat boy was involved with it somehow. I should also mention, in the memory, the goat boy wasn't a Thurundi or a Varelfur like we saw him in the village memory, but rather his third race noted in his amalgamation, a Fremnite. Session ends shortly after, and Session 9 continues by having the group search through the nearby area at the bottom of the well, finding a children's doll which looks eerily familiar to Amnesia Man, and then after a run-in with some nightmare fuel for Tem, also known as Vine Frogs, and nearly dying to a lot of the enemies here, the group collectively agrees it's time to upgrade their armor, weapons, and learn a bit more about those around them. Session 10. When Session 10 starts, the group begins exploring around the town, returning the toy to one of the Thurundi kids, who in turn shows the group a page that had apparently hid itself in the playhouse the kids has. Here is that page, by the way, which, when deciphered, is this. Additionally, the group scrounges around where they had fought Icarus, where Lillian, now having learnt the language, discovers the names Theron, Nunal, and Diri, inscribed on a tall statue of a male Thurundi holding a shield. They search and gather and find the gate where they had originally entered the town, and read this on the gate. It basically says, safety for the village, protection for the whole, new life under Diri, and a future for us all. Another mention of Diri. Who are these three, and what importance do they bring to the Thurundi? My hint for this session is actually mostly pertaining to the lore things of this series, as I believe the lore delvers in the series are actually kind of a bit behind from what they did in Session 0 through 7, where every session basically had a theory going on the second the session was done. As such, I feel like I must say this. The clock tower has always been described as a church. The golems by the gate were holy guardians. Further commentary points elsewhere to who they are. What lore is known about the genesis of Valencia? After all the scrounging, searching, and looking for more secrets, they also find the chest that I called out last recap vid here. And they also finally upgraded their gear by the end of the episode because, just a lot of things happened in this episode. Session 11. As they delve back into the Bramble Well, they reflect more on everything going on around them, what this place is and why they are here, talking with Amnesia Man for any semblance of what could have happened, but of course, he has no memories. During their reflection and fighting their way deeper and deeper into the well, they find the overgrown corpse of an ogre, leaned against a plinth which is scrawled and etched with a multitude of the strange Thurundi runes found within the book. The group, however, is hesitant, with me as the game master, and with their knowledge of what a blight is, and for once, think rationally before rushing in for lore. You'd be surprised how often I've gotten them with a trap like this, actually. They prepare themselves, but when one of them takes a step too far, the body of the ogre reanimates, forgoing the death that had surrounded it, and becoming the first of the mini-bosses fought here. The ogre seems to have never fully passed on, as in the fury of the fight, it attacks not only as an ogre would, but using its own burning soul to double its attacks, fighting and brutally harming the characters despite their recent upgrades. Finally, after a lucky attack and poison combo, because Malrak has become a poison god, by the way, the group fells the demon for good this time, but the air of foreboding is still with them. Something is off about the plinth. Dark air surrounds it. And reading the runes states, You sense a very powerful dark presence lingering here. Something like calling to you of death and payment for something. Payment for a crime of some kind.
There's Anki spirits.
I will say our friend the goat boy feels a bit unsettled by things as well.
Yeah. Anki peoples.
Angie spirits.
I will say also, you notice in the ground, there is a lot of what looks to be different cut marks. Part of it looks to be from the old ogre that you just killed. Others look to be from more weapons. Seemingly angry at whatever made this place, whatever caused the blight, and appearing to be withholding something deep within. Sitting nearby, the characters felt watched, alone, and filled with despair. Something wanting to kill them, something beyond the mortal realm, and this darkness was portrayed in the music. They realized that, by the way, shortly after the said darkness was being portrayed in the music, when it suddenly shifted back to normal after leaving this area. They end the session shortly after finding this statue way back at the start of the well's chest, located here, due to a warning I gave them and some timing constraints as to what is to come. Session 12 through 13. Session 12 introduces Marissa, the nymph of the blade, as the boss of the Bramble Well, standing amongst a broken and ruined fountain. The group didn't know her name at the time, but as they saw her, a feeling of familiarity filled Amnesia Boy and by proxy, Lillian. She cuts the fountain open with her blade, claiming that everything that went wrong here was his fault. He did this to her, and that he did something wrong. As the battle rages forth, she taunts them, calling them weak, easily outmaneuvering the players, using her innate powers of growth and destruction to severely harm them, making them all cry and huddle around the healing fountain, praying that something will save them. Yeah, now that we finally have seen actual bosses in this campaign, I guess I can finally let you know that I don't go easy on my players whenever a boss is present. Death was an imminent danger constantly to them, and the battle was long fought, literally taking a session per stage. As the first session came to a close and her strength faded, it became evident something was wrong with the girl. Despite her anger and her want to kill the party, no, she was blighted, and as her strength faded, the blight in her grew stronger, slowly overpowering her, eventually erupting into a monstrous form. Hell-bent on destruction, and even more anger towards those that stood before her, every shred of humanity left in Marissa slowly began to fade, ripping the party apart as much as her body had been torn by this blight. Her anger drove her forward until finally, with sheer luck and dumb skill, she fell to dust while charging Lillian and the boy in a final strike. As she fell, the sword she once carried fell to the ground, and upon picking it up, Lillian and the Amnesia Boy finally fully remember Marissa and learn her name in full, in a relatively sad sequence showcasing who she was. I've actually remade this scene, though, because I feel the session didn't do her justice the first time. Also, because I know they're watching this with me as it goes up. Hey everybody in the campaign, listen close you guys, this one's important. Your eyes shift to a new form of the Thurundi, walking through the Bramble Well in a much tamer state before the overgrowth had taken this land, before the blight. What blight? Your mind muddles amongst the memory as you overlook these lands. Something is on your mind, something about to change, and then you hear her. The first of your experiments returned successful, the first to awake. But her body can't sustain this form forever. The world won't allow it. The creation magic won't allow it. She's calling for you, but you can't hear your name. You hear her voice as though it's through a hazy fog of muddy water, and then it clears as you speak. Marissa, When it all happens, I need you to take arms and stay here. Overlook these lands. Care for the garden as if they were your children. Sir? What do you mean? How much time do we have? She looks different than she had just moments prior in your fight. A Thurundi woman, much like the statues constructed here. Her form is a perfect comparison. You sigh, something clearly on your mind. Enough for goodbyes and one last meeting with the others. But I need you to focus yourself. Surely you feel it. The threads of time tugging against you. Against me. The laws of creation forbidding our kind here. You speak of things that you didn't even know our friend could ever speak of. I admit, I've felt weak. Sick, almost. You've sown promise with the sword, Marissa. And I want to give you a gift for the time to come. You wave your hand and speak some language intermixed with runic, and feel a singe in your arm as some power fades. Within an instant, the blade you were holding in real life appears before you, as pristine as it was before the battle. It's an honor, sir. She holds her arms out to grab it. But, are you sure you want me to take it? I'm sure someone of the village could use it better than I. You care for this garden and watch over its denizens. When the time comes, and the journey comes to fruition, you must be here, ready to take up arms by my side again. I'm sure it will all turn out right. A moment passes as you turn and walk away, to head into the forest and continue the preparations. Sir, before you go, You turn again and look at your friend. You promise it'll all be okay. You promise we will walk here like this again, as we are now? A moment passes as the question hangs in the air. You promise you're doing the right thing? I'm doing as Deary guides, and I promise it will all turn out well. He hasn't guided me wrong in bringing our people here, across timelines, across the realms of the Veil. It will be the right thing. I'm sure of it. As the memory ends, you return to yourself, holding the sword in hand. It bursts into a red flash of light and appears in a tiny form around the ring. I hope you didn't mind the much more scripted version of this scene, but I feel it's better that way for all involved with the story, as that is what was meant to be included with the memory. It provides more of the intended story at this point, and it also carries more meaning to who Marissa is, what happened with the Blight, and also, more importantly, who our Amnesia Man is. As the session ends, they worry for what the future holds, and search for more secrets in the well. Session 14 through 15. Session 14 and 15 are relatively simple by comparison, and form as a sort of season finale for the series, as the group makes their way through the well, finding all but one zone in the Bramblewell map. Ahem. And with Amnesia Man's new ability to draw upon the sword Marissa once wielded, he slices the vines that once blocked their way as if they were nothing. They have a run-in with another mini-boss they choose to avoid, known as the Lost Samurai, another Call of the Void map in the entryway to this tunnel, and fight a Grass Oni here, also a mini-boss, in a cave prior blocked off. They note another page across a giant gap that is currently unreachable, and find that chest mentioned all the way back with the first statue here, and also a new entry into the plains. Once they're back in the plains, they find this page, which, by the way, hasn't been solved at all since the last session, and a weird switch across the river here, before the session ends, as the group works towards their next rest in the town of Thurundi, and prepare for future delves into the depths of the Blighted Heart. Thoroughly shaken by Marissa, and their deeds to claim their progress. However, that's not where this recap ends. There's still a little bit more to discuss, as some of you may have noticed we haven't had our scheduled theory time. Oh, Wolf Doge! As such, the leading theory is still continuing off of Wolf Doge's theories from the prior recap, in which we discussed the possibility of looping and reincarnation within a cycle being something of importance to the story. But this time it's developed off of what Marissa has stated due to the Amnesia Man having made a mistake that caused all of this. Furthermore, it's believed that due to Wolf Doge's new developments, that the boss fight with Marissa was actually an apparition by the Blight. Or, if it wasn't, a very long, twisted, and dead puppeteered version of her. No ideas of who Theron, Noonal, and Deary have been mentioned in any theory. However, both Tem and Wolf Doge are each looking deeper into their inclusion into the story and what it means. Additionally, no new ideas towards the Watcher of the series have been made. Here, by the way, are the comments and a marker for each episode so that you may make theories for yourself. With that, I have to say, thank you all for watching. And if you enjoyed this, you will enjoy actually watching this full sessions and all that is within them. So please, if you did enjoy, go take the time and watch the episodes as they are currently, or come join for the next one. And join the Discord as the team delves further into the depths. You can become a huge part of solving the campaign as you all learn more about it, as a lot of this video wouldn't have actually occurred without the interactions you all have made with this story. Again, thank you all so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye! Hello everybody, and welcome to my recap of Midnight, Dawn of Darkness, I've already messed it up. To some of you who remember the last recap, I just need to restart. The goat boy wasn't a Thurundi. It was a Varelfur, like we saw him in the village. Okay, I need to restart this sentence. I should also... Nope. They find the overgrown corpse of an... The ogre seems to have never fully passed on. As in the fury of the fight, it talks not... The ogre seems to have never fully passed on. As in the Why can I not stop saying furry? The ogre seems to... Nope. I need to reset it. The ogre never seems... Holy cow, why can I not say this? As they saw her, a feeling of familiarity filled... I'm stupid, and I can write. Field, yes, a feeling of familiarity, field. She's calling for you, but you can't hear her name. God damn it. It's not her name, it's your name. Ah! You wave your hands and speak some language intermixed with the The Lunic, apparently. Yes, Lunic. Hi, Luna. Hello. I hope you didn't mind the much more scripted version of the screen. God! I hope you didn't mind the much more scripted version of this scene. But I feel it's better that way for all involved with the story, as that... I cannot speak. They have a run-in with another mini-boss,